Many years ago, there was a lawyer and his name was Francis Scott Key. He penned a poem in 1814 and put it together with the music from a British drinking song that I am sure you are aware of. It is in most church hymnals in this great country of ours and is called the national anthem. It is our song as an American. We go to a ball game and we stand and we sing it. In our church services, we stand and we sing it. When we win gold at the Olympics, we stand and we sing it. Yet the words go across our lips and we don't even realize what we are singing. Most of us have memorized it as a child and we have never really thought about what it means. When you hear this, I hope that the next time you hear the national anthem, you will pause and reflect on what it means. Let me tell you a story. Francis Scott Key was a 35-year-old lawyer in Baltimore. The colonies were engaged in vicious conflict with the mother country, Britain, in 1812. Because of this conflict, they had procured prisoners on both sides. The colonies had prisoners and the Brits had prisoners as well, and the American government made a move and went to the British government and said, "Let's negotiate for the release of these prisoners." They were holding the American prisoners in ships about 1,000 yards off the shore and not far from Fort McHenry. They said, "We want to send a man out to you. His name is Francis Scott Key and he is a lawyer. We want to make a mutual exchange of prisoners." On the appointed day, he went out in a rowboat to negotiate with the British officials. They reached an agreement and the men could be exchanged one for one on that basis, and Francis was jubilant with what he had negotiated, and he went down below the deck of the ship. And what he found was a cargo hold full of humanity. He said, "I've got good news for you men, because tonight you're going to be free. I have negotiated with the British government, and tonight you're going to get to return to the colonies. Tonight you will be taken out of this boat, out of your chains, and out of this filth." He made his way back topside and he met the admiral, who said, "We have a slight problem. We will still honor our commitment to release these men, but it will be purely academic after this evening. It just won't matter anymore." And Francis said, "What do you mean?" The admiral said, "We have laid an ultimatum upon these colonies. Your people will either capitulate and lay down the colors, that flag that you think so much of, or do you see that fort right over there, Fort McHenry? We're going to remove it from the face of the earth." Francis said, "How are you going to do that?" The admiral pointed to the horizon and said, "You see those hundreds of dots? Those are warships, the entire British war fleet. All of the gunpowder, all of the armament is being called upon to demolish that fort. It will be here within striking distance in about 2 hours." He said, "The war will be over and these men will be taken and made free anyway." Francis said, "You can't shell that fort. It is a large fort and is full of women and children. It is predominantly not a military fort." The admiral said, "Don't worry about it. We've left them a way out." "Well, what is that?" asked Key. "You see that flag up there on that rampart? We have told them if they'll just lower the flag, the shelling will stop immediately. We'll know that they have surrendered, and you will once again be under the rule of the British." Francis went down below and told the men what was about to happen. And they asked how many ships, and he told them hundreds. The ships got closer and Francis went back on topside and he said, "Men, I'll shout down to you what's happening as we watch." Well, as the twilight began to fall and the haze began to fall across the ocean as it does at sunset, the British war fleet unleashed the cannons. Blam! Blam! Francis said the sound was deafening. There were so many guns and there was no release of sound and shell. He said it was impossible to carry on a conversation topside, and the sky, though dark, was suddenly lit. And from down below, the only message he heard was, "Tell us where the flag is. What have they done with the flag? Is the flag still flying over the rampart?" 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and into the shelling. And every time a bomb would explode, and it was close to the flag, They could see the flag in the illuminated red glare of that bomb. Francis would report to the men below, "It's still up, it's not down." The admiral came to Francis and said, "Your people are insane. What's the matter with them? Don't they understand this is an impossible situation?" Francis said he remembered what George Washington had said. The thing that sets the American Christian apart from everyone else in the world is that he will die on his feet before he will live on his knees. The admiral said, "We have told all the ships in the command to focus on that rampart and take that flag down. We don't understand something. Our reconnaissance tells us that the flag has been hit directly again and again, and yet it is still flying, and we don't understand how. But we are about to bring every gun on that point for the next 3 hours." Francis said the barrage was unmerciful. He said all he could hear was the men down below praying, and the prayer, "God, keep the flag flying," where we last saw it. Sunrise came, and he said there was a heavy mist hanging over the land, but the rampart was tall enough to see the flag. It was nondescript, tattered, and in shreds. The flagpole itself was in a crazy angle, but the flag was still there at the top. Francis went ashore and immediately went into Fort McHenry to see what had happened. And what he found is that the flag and the flagpole had suffered repetitious hits. And it had fallen, but men, fathers, husbands who knew what it meant for the flag to be on the ground. And though knowing that all the British guns were trained on the flag, walked over and held it up with human hands until they too died. Some of their bodies were removed and others took their place. Francis said what held the flag up at such an unusual angle were the patriots' bodies. And the song, "Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? For the rocket's red glare and the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag is still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? The debt was demanded, but the price it was paid. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed in the twilight's last gleaming? Who's brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight? For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave, the land of the free and the home of the brave."